Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the video.
You said that already.
Cause I'm gonna edit that out. Make sure.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Chris the Real Nester. Y'all see it at Real Nester. Y'all go do that. Go Google that. And this is
James got a new seat, Real Nester.
Oh my goodness, I got the hiccup. Sorry, guys. So y'all know what day it is. Y'all know what night it is. This is the favorite night of the week. It is Wednesday.
I know what time it is.
We review
Married at First Sight. But first I want to tell them, before we get into it, make sure you guys tune in, because Queen Latifah is back with The Equalizer. So make sure y'all check out those reviews. They will start next week because our first show is Sunday. So let's get into Married at First Sight. Tonight's episode is called Is There Someone Else?
Is there someone else?
Yeah, I'm going to let you start off because I was feeding my mouth. So you got all the notes. Get into it there.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So we are almost a month into being married.
23 days before decision day.
23 days. And, well, as y'all know, everybody has a lot of highs and has a lot of lows. And this is actually around the time where things kind of start to get a little normal before the pressure of D-Day really set in on everybody. So they started off with Gil and Mirla. Everybody loves them. They call them the spicy couple. We have to admit, you know, halfway through predictions, we predicted they would stay together and then break up after decision day. I think that's what we predicted.
Well, I said if I predicted they would break up. They kind of leveling out though.
Yeah.
Because she loosened up. They seem to be getting along
really well.
And the only reason why they're making it is because Gil
puts a lot of effort.
Dealing with
everything
her.
She threw at him.
Now, if he had got tired of dealing with that, it'd have been over with.
Well, so speaking of that, he just announced to her that his lease is almost up on his place in 3 weeks.
As you know, it's 23 days, which is almost 4 weeks left for
the decision day.
So he
let her know, like, hey, you know, we probably got to move in together before D-Day, you know. And she was like, well, maybe you should extend your lease. And he's like, if you want me to extend my lease, I can. So, but he already took some initiative and actually started looking for apartments in the building where they are, which probably makes sense because it's, you know, it's mutual. If they like it now and they both are making it to work, but I think she works from home.
Yeah.
I guess he figured it would work for a longer term.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's actually pretty cool. When you see couples already starting to make decisions towards their future, it lets you know how much they really want this and they want to stay together. Like, you know, looking for apartments and get ready to sign a year's lease at least before D-Day says we both saying yes on decision day. So, of course, you know, they was always joking around and things like that. And he's picking at her because she wants a new phone. I don't know. I just don't think they'll make it far after decision day, because if she does keep at the same momentum financially, that's going to be a turnoff for him. Next, we going to jump into Johnny and Bao.
Yes, sir.
So,
as you guys recall, they were having the issue at the little get-together on the last episode.
Right.
Johnny was almost hyperventilating, about to explode out his own body.
Yeah.
So he had to go outside to take a breather.
Because he felt like Bao was telling lies. He called her a manipulator. Like, he said a lot of nasty things. Basically, he felt like she was bragging about all these things she do in the relationship, and he felt like she wasn't giving him any credit for anything.
Yeah.
But in her defense, honestly, I really like Johnny. I think he's a real cool person. But besides whining, there isn't, honestly, unless you could point out something, there's not a lot of things he's actually doing in the relationship.
Yeah.
He's barely showing up, to be honest.
Yeah.
The only thing he gets excited about is when it's sexy time.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I see him get excited about. So this opened up with them cooking. They didn't really talk about what happened. Bao opened with repeating what happened, but she was like, I'm just going to move past it. I'm going to... She don't know what he was mad about. She just know he was upset. Yeah. But she was like, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to make him happy. So she was cooking the meal, and they decided to play a drinking game. And she asked him what was his decision on D-Day. He take a drink. He asked her. She said to stay together. And she broke it down. She said, you know, in this relationship, I'm doing everything different than what I did before. I'm usually the one who break off my relationship, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to stay in this and give it everything I got. And he had to admit in his interview, like, you know, that's the best thing he ever heard. But he's not that sure. Yeah. Next, we have to trickle on over to Jose and Rachel.
Yeah.
If y'all know, this would be week 2 from them making up for their big blow up they had a couple of weeks ago. And they were cooking breakfast together. And they started talking about their trips. Like, some of these things, you guys, they run in a hole. Like, taking their differences and really ringing it through the ringer. I mean, if they was planning a trip in the next couple of months, that would make sense. Yeah. But if they're not planning a trip until months from now, I don't understand why we keep talking about it. But anyway, of course, she wants to go, I think, to Europe, and he wants to go to Texas.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just too much. But at least they was cooking dinner together. Breakfast together, and was enjoying each other's company still. So anyway, y'all know how we do this. We give y'all a play-by-play. So we're about to cut on out. And we'll be back at the next commercial.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know we're back with that blow by blow, that piece by piece, that sugar. Okay. Anyway, so we're back, and this is starting off a little bit slow, but we're gonna start off with Johnny and Bao.
Johnny and Bao.
Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a review also. So, Johnny and Bao was having a great time. They sit down to eat, and then Johnny decides...
Drink or dare?
Drink. No, answer the question or drink.
Drink, yeah.
Is the game he wanted to play. And at first, it really seemed like he wanted to play the game, but he set Bao up.
I knew from the jump that's why he wanted to play the game. Because he wanted to ask her about her telling the truth. I knew that as soon as he said it.
Yeah.
I knew that was his motive.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So, they cooked supposedly together. It looked like she did more of the work. So she waited for him, of course, to take the first bite to see if it was good. So long story short, he did ask her, does she feel like she's putting in 100%? And he like, well, if you putting in 100%, I'm putting 150%.
Yeah.
And she has such a great, I don't know what you call it, but her energy is even. Yeah. Like, when he gets all upset, he turns red, he jumps up and walks away, and she sits there and she still talks to him just like this the whole time. She never at all raises her voice. And so, she was saying to him, I do get that you do things different with the suggestions, the date nights and things. She's like, but I'm doing everything I can. I do the laundry, I put away the clothes, He's like, I didn't ask you. She said, I know, but it's my way of showing you I'm always thinking about you all the time. So long story short, because she just didn't agree with him, he got upset, he went to the bathroom, he huffed and he puffed, he came out, she waited for him. And, she stood by his side and held his hand, and he's like, you know, I just don't feel like we're compatible. And she was just like, I don't think this has anything to do with compatible. We just still new and getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's like, and I'm right here with you. We can do this, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he's like, well, I just need a minute to think. So, you know, while I think Johnny is a really cool guy, he's being very selfish.
Yeah.
Because he's assuming that everything he's doing is exactly what she needs done, and that's not necessarily true for her. She feels like he wants her to be the woman but act like the man, and include him and put him in everything and talk to him, you know, and which she's doing, but it's still not good enough. Basically, he want her to do it at every moment.
Johnny remind me of like the kids school experiment where you put the vinegar into the baking soda and it's bush roll. He like that.
Yeah, he just, you know, he really fighting against himself. But it really all comes down to Johnny has been by himself for 8 years, you guys. No roommate, no girlfriend. He's been a serial dater. So it's always been about what he want. And the more he spent time on those dates, he's put more in his head of what he want his perfect person to be like.
And when things get uncomfortable, he usually bounce.
He bounced. So, you know, and she basically let him know she's usually one who ends her relationships too, but she's staying in it.
Yeah.
So that's Johnny and Bao. Let's hop on over to, so Brett and Ryan, we went to them, but they weren't together. Brett was with her friend, and Ryan went to the gym with Zach. Long story short, between the two conversations, basically, is Brett saying she could tell Ryan is tapped out, and Ryan basically saying he's kind of tapped out, and that Brett should know. And Zach told him, don't assume that she should know anything. You need to have the conversation and make sure she knows, you know, what's going on with you.
He told Zach told him he need to stand up when he said it too.
To be quiet. That's his running joke. Don't tell him. So he also told him, he said, well, Pastor Cal had said to me that I already checked out in my head, and that's why things wasn't working. He said, is it possible you did the same thing? You know, and I thought it was pretty cool because Zach is actually the youngest out of all of them, out of all the guys. Everybody else is 35. And the thing that's cool about it is because I've given Zach a couple of kicks for being, you know, kind of immature in his emotions and how he expresses himself. Like, not about him just crying, but it's like he can't control himself. You know, he has to cry about it. Kind of like Johnny's doing with the temper tantrum thing. So the fact that he was able to look at Ryan and say, hey, dude, you know, maybe you need to put more effort into this.
Yeah.
And have a real conversation. I really like that. And Ryan, and Brett talking to her friend basically saying the same thing. Have a conversation. Don't sit there and try to guess what he's doing or what he's not doing. Have a conversation. And as always, you guys, y'all know with those two, I told you from the beginning, they are the wild card. And everything is very simple with them. No matter how complicated the situation, it's really that simple. They just need to have a conversation. Be back at the next commercial.
Oh, yeah.
It's already on, baby.
All right. So, guys and girls, we are getting through this. Not looking at the peanut gallery. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a couple of little things going on. Again, this is when they're more settled, so not as intense. Mirla and Gil, they didn't show Gil. He's probably off on his 2-day. He has to do 2 days at the firehouse, and then he gets a day off or whatever. So he's probably doing that. So they showed Mirla talking to her friend on the phone. And I have to tell you guys, all she talked about is how awesome Gil is, basically, and how he's looking for a place for them. And he's finding a bougie place for them, by the way, for them. And she really likes it. And the friend was like, you trust him to do it? And she's like, yeah, because he knows how I am. And in such a short time, you guys, that is super cool that she can say, well, he knows how I am. And he's going to try to meet that. So, you know, she gave him a lot of kudos. And so the friend asked her, you know, did that make her want to change her spending habits? And, of course, she says no. I don't know why people keep asking her that. The more you ask her that, the more she's going to say no.
Yeah.
But she was saying that he wants to go out and things, and she doesn't want to. Like to meet his friends, go to his friend's house, and she doesn't want to. And her friend told her that she has to because she's not his girlfriend, she's his wife. And his friends and family is going to start to think that she's a you-know-what. And we're not going to say the word, but you know the female dog word? Yeah, that word.
Ooh.
So she was like, I don't care. And the friend basically was letting her know, but Gil probably does. So that was pretty cool. I'm excited that she's finally, like, speaking more highly of him. Because in the beginning, she was so critical about everything he was doing. It was hard to tell if she really sincerely liked him or not.
Yeah.
So now we know she does. Also, Michaela and Zach. Michaela was talking to her sister about Zach. Oh yeah, earlier in the show they went mainstream soccer. Michaela and Zach did. They had a great time, and of course you know they always impose some kind of serious question in there. So they both asked each other what was their best moment in their marriage, and they shared that. But then Michaela ends up going out with her sister, and they was catching up, and she was talking about how great Zach is, how he's already stretched her, how, you know, she done turned from just the Grinch to the Grinch with the toys in her hand, and she's excited. And the sister's mentioning kids, and she told the sister she loves Zach. She knows that she loves him because she's changing herself. And the sister agreed just from talking to her in that conversation that you could tell she's putting an effort in changing and not being, I guess, the brat they know her to be.
Yeah.
Then
we
touch bases on
the one that did the little course, obstacle course.
Brett, Ryan, Jose, and Rachel. All they went on a double date. Brett set up an obstacle course basically for Ryan because she knows that's what he liked. And she wanted to do something, you know, to change the atmosphere, to lighten the mood a bit. So it was guys against the girls. Yeah. You know, they did 2 obstacle courses. It was really fun. Everybody was excited. But of course, Jose and Rachel were more touchy-feely and supportive of each other. Good job, you did that. And Brett was on one side and Ryan was on the other side of the room, basically. Yeah. You know, so Ryan is making this really awkward. He should just tell the girl he's not that into her. Seriously.
Yeah.
I clicked too much. And then let's get back to our favorite couple. Since it's so funny because 1 minute they kind of flash on these two, and then the next minute they spend a lot of time with these two. So, Johnny and Bao, they, you know, continuing their argument from the night before. Johnny stayed at his place. Bao stayed at their place. And they were supposed to go to Johnny's family function, one of his uncle's birthday party. And Bao studied all morning to remember these people's names because she wanted to remember their names in their native language. I forgot she did that. So she was sitting there studying. She's like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had. Yeah, she sat there and studied all their names in their native language. And before it was time for them to leave, Johnny called her and said she can't go. So needless to say, I finally seen a little fire out of Bao. She was really upset because she's like, you know, Johnny's not into this, you know.
He's not even trying.
Yeah. So he goes to the
maybe he self-sabotaged it on purpose.
He might. I don't think it's on purpose. He want her
to say no at the thing.
I don't think it's on purpose that he's doing it, but I definitely think he's self-sabotaging. Yeah. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think he wants to be married, but whoever
get way out.
Whoever he made up in his head, just like the other guys, that's Ryan's problem too. Yeah. They made up somebody in their head, and then they looking at this woman and saying, well, she's not that, she's not doing these things. Yeah. So he goes to the family to get together, and they're like, well, where's Bao? You know, they all want to meet her, and he's basically telling them it's not working out, she's not romantic enough, she thinks that just her cooking and cleaning is good enough. And, you know, his cousin or somebody says to him, well, you know, you need to give it more time because if that's something she's not normally doing and she's doing it for you, then you got to give her time to continue to change. Yeah. And then the aunt told him, you know, she really hoped that he would, you know, make this relationship. But Bao is really ticked off. Yeah. And while she was home, by the way, she was doing meal prep for them for the week. which is something that she says she does, and Johnny argued with her that she does not. So, you know, she's acts of service is one of her love languages, and then that's how she's been showing Johnny love.
Yeah.
But for him, well, I'm a little confused, honestly, about what he wants. Do you completely understand what it is he wants from her besides sex?
But everything he's like, what he want is because she seems like the more freakier person than him.
Right.
Because she always tells them to do something. So I don't understand. That ain't the problem there.
Sex ain't the problem no more. After they broke the ice, they all over each other with that.
That ain't the problem.
We don't really know what Johnny wants. He keeps saying he wants.
No problem.
I think he's stuck. If y'all remember in the very beginning.
He's like a person that ain't took their medicine.
No, Ray. In the very beginning, he said he wants a woman who's completely into him. Like, he wants to be able to choose her as a choice or an option, but he wants that person to be, like, smothering him. You know, that's what he said. And that's what he's trying to force her to do.
But he get ticked off at every little thing.
Yeah, he does. And, you know, she said today, she said she's a administrator at a cancer something. Mm-hmm. She's like, it's not like I'm sitting home doing nothing all day, so it does take effort for her to actually do the housewife things. You guys, y'all gotta pray for my favorite couple, because I agree with the hubby. Johnny is self-sabotaging.
They're going down in flames.
And if they make it on the decision day, it's gonna be 100% because of us. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so stuff just got real out on these streets.
In the DMs.
So, Bao and Johnny is taking up a lot of time here. But it's more Johnny than it is Bao. So, they ended up meeting with Pastor Cal, which I think was very, very smart on Bao's end, by getting Pastor Cal involved, because she's very confused about what's happening. So Johnny said quite a few mean things in their meeting.
Yeah.
He said that he don't like her. He didn't want her around his family because he don't like her. So he don't want them to get attached to her or her to get attached to their family.
And he wish they had paired her with anybody else besides her.
Yeah, and it all went back to this meal prep thing when she was saying she was prepping gourmet meals and blah, blah, blah. He went back to that. He says she's not an honest person. So she's like, well, what am I saying that I'm not honest about? And Pastor Cal's like, answer the question. And he was saying the meal thing again. He said it's not just her doing it, we do it together. And, you know, Pastor Cal basically asked Johnny, was there someone else? Because he feels like he's sabotaging the relationship. And, you know, it's all probably going to run together, but you'll hear hubby say it earlier. You know, he's self-sabotaging. And he took a little while to answer, so Bao thought about it. She said, well, wait a minute. I didn't ask that question. That's the only thing I didn't think about. Yeah. And she's like, answer the question, Johnny. You know, and he said, no, it wasn't anybody else. He's actually only comparing her to the woman that he's made up in his head. And Pastor Cal told him there's no perfect woman. He needs to have a funeral for the woman in his head because she's messing up the relationship. And they all laughed. And you know how Pastor Cal is. He made things lighter. And Val was pretty upset. That kind of hit her pretty hard. And, you know, Pastor Cal actually talked about all the good things about Val that we see. The fact that she's standing by Johnny, even though he's still saying all these nasty things on multiple occasions. And the fact that she's loyal, she's not a quitter, you know, that basically she was perfect for him, and that Johnny needed to, you know, work on it and put some effort into it. And he said he would, so Pastor Kyle had them look at each other and had him tell him. But at this point, he had really, like, hurt Bao's feelings a lot. Like, she took it really well, and she still never raised her voice or anything. Against him, and he claims he's gonna work on it. You guys, I'm really sad about this because I get that in the beginning he was saying the attractive thing. That kind of made sense.
Yeah.
But now it do feel like he's just fishing for anything about her he can to pull apart. And she's actually making effort. You know what I mean? She's making some good efforts on trying to make their relationship work.
Yeah.
But, so, y'all know we start off nice and kind, and then we end up in these sad places. So, let's hop on over to Brett and Ryan. We learned something today. Ryan went to meet with his sister earlier in the show. Now, before that, I don't know. I did tell y'all that Brett and Ryan both had separate conversations where they were both explaining that Brett is clear that Ryan is pulling away.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know why. She doesn't understand why. When Ryan meets with his sister, basically, I'm just going to keep it real grungy with you, ladies and gentlemen. He thinks she's dirty. He actually did a video cam of, she's using the second bathroom in the second bedroom from her stuff. He actually went over there and did a video cam basically saying he could not live in that every day.
Yeah.
And the sister, you know, because she was joking about it. Like, you know, she didn't know it was actually a thing, and it ended up being a thing. So basically she was telling him, like, you need to tell her. Like, you think you're you know, guarding her heart, but really you're doing her no good by keeping this stuff to yourself. Because right now she has no clue. Like, he laughed, he chuckled. He's like, she's been washing her clothes since yesterday. I bet you if I go home, they're still in the wash machine. You know, and honestly, something like that is adjustable for people. Like, a person can't necessarily change their looks immediately or something like that.
Yeah.
But something as far as telling a person, hey, clean up behind yourself, that's not that complicated. Like, you know, he's making a world of wickedness out of it. And then he still feels a certain type of way that she's, what do you call people? I guess she's too hyper for him. You know, he's like, I feel like I have to be extra calm to balance her out. So, you know, for these people who really want to be married, they're hilarious. Marriage is work. Like, you're not gonna, this show gives you 8 weeks. You meet at the altar. You've already done more at the altar than some people have done in 10 years of a relationship. You signed over saying you made a commitment before God that you want to stay with this person. And then as you get to know these person, you know, they wear a purple sock and a pink sock and you're upset. Just say, hey, why don't you match your socks? Or how about you just mind your business? That ain't that serious to fight about. Yeah. You know? But if he feels like she's dirty, at least she took it on the other side of the room. She didn't do it in the room where they were at. But secondly, how about he just say to her, she just loves her freaking dog. Her mind is probably all over the place. Maybe he should just say, hey, or go in there and start straightening it up. Sometimes that helps people too. If you start doing it, then they realize like, oh, dang, I guess I should clean up behind myself. You know, but he could handle it totally different. But I realized that he's turned off by the fact that he thinks she's not clean.
Yeah.
And then we went to Jose and Rachel. They went to a wine tasting dinner. Yeah. And Rachel forewarned Jose that Summer Rachel is coming. And Summer Rachel is not going to be nice if she has to sit in the house and wait for him to get off work. And he's all freaking out already, you guys. Y'all know he's an overthinker. He's like, oh my goodness, what is this? If she's not going to stay, this is bothering me, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, like, this dude got pounds of money. Why don't he just offer her to take a class or maybe send her on that trip that she wants to go on so bad for a couple of weeks while he still works since he doesn't want to go anyway.
Yeah. He
could offer to send her sister or her mom, you know, while he stays home.
Yeah.
That you know, that's something, give her something to do. Also, they touched on Michaela and Zach, who's doing scrapbooking together and hanging pictures together and writing poems for each other. You guys, and I say it like that because while I do root for love and I will hope that most of these couples stay together, Zach and Michaela seems very fake to me at this point. The hubby always joked that one couple is a plant.
Yeah.
And not necessarily saying the experts might have picked a plant couple, but maybe once these people get together, they like, look, I don't like you. You don't like me. Let's have some fun while we on this show and make this money or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I believe Zach and Michaela is like her energy is like way up here, and he's always giggling, and you know they just had some very explosive, intense things going on. Like I just don't see that it's real. But y'all can watch it for yourselves. Go back and watch it for yourselves, or comment down below if you're currently watching it and see if you agree. It just doesn't seem real, and I still don't think they're gonna make it. But anyway, we almost to the wrap of this thing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to wrap it up.
To wrap it up, baby.
So, let's pop on over to Brett and Ryan. I don't know who we ended on, but let's pop over to them and let's wrap them up. So, actually, let's go a little easier. Let's go to Mirla and Gil. So, Gil ends up meeting with his friend who was in his wedding.
Yeah.
To talk about their relationship.
They said it's got a lot better. Mm-hmm. They still ain't consummated.
No, but he said he is definitely not worried about it. Yeah. The attraction is there.
And she coming out of her shell. She even wants her own dog now. Yeah.
And then the friend asked him, is there any concerns or worries? And he said that, you know, basically she's a bit spoiled, and she has like a temper tantrum thing she does, and that she says she's not changing her lifestyle for anybody. That still bothers him a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's all in, she's all in, and Mirla wants a dog, ladies and gentlemen. Can we believe it? After she talked all that smack.
All that stuff.
Then we're gonna hop on over to, let's see, do we have anybody else? Brett and Ryan. You guys know I always we kind of pass them. They get like 2 seconds out of everything. Yeah. So Ryan did his best attempt to sit down to tell Brett that he didn't want to be with her, but it kind of came out like spinning around in a circle. She was so confused. She was sitting there looking at him like, what is he trying to say?
Yeah.
So the only thing he could get out was that he needed to get some sleep. He hadn't been sleeping. And she's like, well, if you think I'm in the room just sleeping. And he was like, yeah, I know, but if I don't get no sleep, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to like me. And he was like, yeah, I need to sleep in the bed or whatever. So she kind of just made it easier for him, because I think she was exhausted also. She said, well, I can go sleep in the other room and you can sleep in there. And he was like, okay, good night. Yeah. So she went and slept in the other room. Her little mini interview, basically she said, he had something he was trying to tell me. I guess it's that he don't want to be with me, but I want to make him say it. I want to hear him say it out his mouth. So, you know, that's the note they ended on. They went to bed, and it's not clear to her. He didn't even mention why. I think that's her reason. She wants to know why, because this has happened to her multiple times. Yeah. This is why she's not married. Let's see. That was Brett and Ryan and their 20-minute talk of nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta wrap this up with the ring dinga dinga. Bow and Johnny. So you guys, I told y'all about their talk with Pastor Kyle. And then later they're brushing their teeth, and basically they decided they needed to have another talk. So Johnny basically said, I didn't want to talk to you in front of my family or Pastor Cal. I wanted us to talk first because a lot of things came out raw. And she's like, yeah, you said a lot of mean things. And which he did. He's very brutal to Bao. Yeah. I don't know what that is.
Sabotage. Like they say, sabotage.
You know, she basically...
He don't want to be in it no more. He just sabotaged it.
Excuse me. And but the thing is, if you don't want to be in it, people give mixed signals. If you don't want to be in a relationship, you don't hit the person on the butt, give love taps, peck them and kiss them every time you get a chance. You basically do what Ryan doing. Ryan stays over there while Brett is over there. Yeah. If she ain't getting it, there's nothing warm in that room. That's on her. Yeah. You know, he's not giving her no false advertisements or misleading. But Johnny, on the other hand, is very misleading. So, basically he was saying that, she's like, well, be more specific. What is it that you think that I'm not doing? And he was like, well, basically we see the relationship two different ways.
Yeah.
You feel like you're doing all these things, and I feel like you're not doing these things. She said, well, I never said that I was doing all the things that you said that I'm not doing. What I said was I would try to start doing them.
Yeah.
So she's real clear about what's happening. And then as he heard, I think he finally heard her. Besides talking, he actually heard her, so he agreed. And, they agreed that they're going to check in daily with each other moving forward so that they could be on the same page about what is happening. You guys, it's real hard to watch because not that...
They falling apart right before your eyes.
Yeah, it's not that, they got all the checkpoints. Even looking at him, it seemed like the chemistry is there. Because even though he's saying he's not attracted to her, he's always kissing her. He's always ready to get busy with her. I think people don't really understand what the word attraction means. Or something. Because when you're not attracted to somebody, you kind of don't want them touching you. You don't want to touch them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's an old school thing. Maybe new school can be not attracted and still without liquor and still get busy. I don't know. But anyway, it's a very hard thing to watch. And poor Bao, she's like 100% in. By now, if I think any other woman in her shoes would be backing up some. And give him his space to fall on his face versus keep trying to hold him up. Because he doesn't want to be held up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I feel like tonight ended on a very sad note for me. This was my favorite couple.
Don't cry, babe. Don't cry.
I thought that if anybody can make it, Bao and Johnny can make it. It's a very interesting story when Gil and Mirla looks more together going into D-Day than Bao and Johnny. That is crazy. That is insane. And of course, I always said to you guys that Ryan and Brett was a wild couple. I definitely now can vote for sure they're not staying together. I still don't think Michaela and Zach are going to stay together.
Bao and Johnny not staying together.
I'm not willing to say that.
Wait a minute. You say Michaela and Zach not staying together?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to stay together.
I think they are.
No. I don't think they are. I think that they're going to have...
Oh, that's right, because we saw a preview about one.
I think they're going to have more issues. Their relationship is like bunny rabbits.
I think the only people that's going to stay together is Miller and Gil.
Yep.
I think they're going to be the only ones that stay together.
Because Rachel and Jose...
Well, I don't know, though. Rachel, they cool. They cool, Rachel and Jose. For now. I think they'll make it.
Okay. So
I think they'll make it.
So it's two kinds of make it though.
I think they'll make it.
It is when we go to to decision day, are we gonna stay together? That's one.
And the second 6 months after this.
Yeah, if they're gonna still be together.
Together, yeah.
So those are two different things. I think going into it, Zach and Michaela might make it to say yes on divorce day, but they definitely are not going to stay together beyond that.
Yeah. So that might be how that works. Yeah.
They might.
Yeah, Zach and Michaela say yeah. No, well, we depend. We gotta wait to see if they recover from the preview we saw.
Yeah.
If they recover from the preview that we saw, with him rolling out, because I don't even think that's coming next week. Then they'll say yes at the decision. But 6 months later, I don't think they'll be together.
I don't think Rachel and Jose can make it after D-Day. I think
6 months after.
I don't.
So basically, after the smoke clear, you only see Marilyn and Gil after 6 months.
I don't think they're going to be together after 6 months either.
Everybody going to break up?
Yeah, unfortunately. I think they'll make it to D-Day. But I think it's still eventually Gil is going to get a little worn down by her negative energy.
If she only acting like that for the camera, and that's not really how she is.
No, that is how she is. Then her friend even called her the B word.
Yeah.
Her friend Her friend called her the B word.
Yeah.
So that's not just for the camera. She just dialed it down some because he doesn't have that negative energy back. If he was giving it back, it would definitely be a rougher situation.
Yeah.
But he's just super calm. And she says that. She said he knows how to handle me. Yeah. So, you know, but I think over time, especially if she don't want to start popping out babies soon, I think they'll be done. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, Bow and Johnny still has a chance to recover. But Johnny is making it super, super hard. So you guys, we gotta wrap this thing up. We thank you as always for spending time with us. Go ahead and drop y'all comments down below what y'all see. If y'all watch it, if y'all haven't watched it, why aren't you watching it? And give us some thumbs up because we deserve it. We stay up every week for 2 hours and give y'all blow by blow, especially this season, of what is happening during this show. So the least y'all can do is give us some thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so when this video comes out and all the others, you will know. And do you got anything to say to the people, baby?
We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.